Well, welcome back. So we're going to talk about Super Mario Galaxy. And now this one, I'm just going to say this up front. I enjoyed this sequel much more than the first one. And there's several reasons why. For me personally, I feel like this movie had more going on. There's more storylines happening. There are more stories for the characters. And it just felt like there were more characters involved. You compare it to the first one, it kind of starts with Mario and Luigi in the real world, and you get a little bit of a backstory. And pretty early on, as Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi ends up being kind of just set aside for pretty much a majority of the movie. So you have the first one where Mario meets up with Princess Peach, and you have like the same few characters kind of traveling doing one storyline, and you meet a few new characters, but it's mainly just a handful of characters uh, with their one story, with Bowser as the one enemy. And so it's kind of just one easy story. It was easy to grasp. There wasn't really too much involved. There wasn't really a lot going on. It was kind of simple. They kept it simple, and I think that was fine. With this one, the opening scene is Princess Rosalina being attacked by who ends up being Bowser Jr. in this big sort of entertaining fight. I mean, it's a whole sequence. It's a big action opening, and it just felt more intense. And it wasn't some like quick thing. It felt like a 5 minute opening or longer. I mean, this was quite the opening. And not only that, after we see what Bowser Jr. does to her, then we skip to our heroes with Mario and Luigi. Luigi being established as being very much a part of the team and in this movie. And they're traveling through the desert on their motorbikes, and we get Yoshi in pretty much their first 5 minutes of screen time. So we sort of get our characters established very early on in this movie. Yoshi's thrown into the mix, which is pretty interesting. They meet up with Princess Peach and Toad early on during their format of beginning of screen time, and then Bowser Jr. is getting storyline periodically throughout the film as well. And I thought his villain presence was really well done. I mean, for an animated kids movie, they made him a pretty intimidating villain. Was just the way he's fighting and his aggression and the way the animation was with his powers, and it just all looked really really cool. For someone who I would consider myself a casual Mario fan, I've played several of the games, but I haven't played a lot of the classics, and I haven't played a lot of them just all the way through. It would always be to play with friends or with family, just playing either the mini games or some of the missions. I've never played a majority of them just all the way through. So I would consider myself a casual Mario fan, but I know enough to recognize some of the characters. There are some characters I didn't recognize, and I think that was perfectly fine because this movie explains everything to newcomers in such an easy way to where it was easy to grasp. So it doesn't feel like it's leaving anyone behind, but at the same time, if you have played a majority of the games, you're going to get fan service stuff in this movie as well, with references and Easter eggs and cameos. There's going to be a little bit of everything for everyone, really. And so, as I also compare this again to the first one, you have Bowser Jr. Having his own thing off to the side. You have Princess Peach and Toad are going off to go find her, while Mario and Luigi with Yoshi are left to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, who then ends up fighting Bowser Jr. So you now really have three storylines going on at the same time. So it already feels like the story is more grand than the first one. And as pretty much the main story is, Bowser Jr. wants his father back. But before he meets up with him, Bowser is trying to get Mario to make him big again. He wants to be free. And as Bowser Jr. attacks the castle, he misses his opportunity to get Bowser. So now we have Yoshi and Mario and Luigi and Bowser all on their little four-man journey. And he ends up, Bowser is teasing Mario, trying to coax him into making him big, which he does. But then Bowser's an ally. And then he's like, all right, great. You're not going to regret this. And he's just buddies with them. And it's that kind of chemistry between the characters is just entertaining. It's just cool to see. with the comedy being on point in this one. I think the comedy was a lot better in this one than the last one. Comedy is subjective, so everyone's gonna really have their own opinion on that. I just personally found this one more funny than the first one was. And so, as Bowser Jr. catches up with Bowser, as he's left behind to prove his loyalty to the group, um, Bowser's struggling with what kind of father he wants to be, even though Bowser Jr. has taken on the full villain role now at this point, while Bowser's trying to turn his life around. So Bowser's kind of conflicted now, which is a kind of storyline I wouldn't have expected to see in a character like this, in a movie like this. But now we have this storyline going on where he's trying to be this proud dad while he doesn't want to harm Mario, because they're friends now, but his son wants to destroy him. So that kind of dynamic just makes everything more entertaining. So as Mario's group and Princess Peach's group meet up, we now get Star Fox showing up, so it's another cameo. And in my theater, people started to clap and cheer for him. So his debut was clearly very welcome. He is a character I recognized, so it was cool to see him. He's got the cool ship. All of his scenes were just cool. That's the kind of character he is. And so now that we have all our characters teamed up, it's now up to the main group of heroes going to fight Bowser and Bowser Jr. to save Princess Rosalina. So now we have all of our heroes in one place, our villains in one place, and now there's going to be one fight. And this made it entertaining when they show up to Planet Bowser, pretty much. As our characters are trying to get through the castle and trying to get to her. It's sort of reminiscent of the castle fights in Super Mario, where you have the lava and just all of those sort of sequences as you would see from a side-scroller point of view in the game, as Bowser Jr. is trying to activate all the traps and all the booby traps and everything. His security cam is seeing it in a side-scroller point of view as a nod to us seeing it how we play the games. So that was pretty cool. And we also get this boss fight that's really cool because Mario ends up killing Bowser. He ends up in the lava, but obviously we see in the skeleton form he rises again to then fight them again. And so that was pretty entertaining. While Princess Peach meets up with Rosalina, trying to free her from her powers being drained. And so as all these storylines are coming together, it just feels like so much is going on, but it's not too much to where it's overbearing. It's just enough to keep your interest and to feel exciting all the way through. And so I think that's what I really liked about this one, is for someone that was a casual Mario fan, I just wanted to see some fun stuff. I didn't want one storyline as we spend all this time with useless exposition. No, this was very much an action movie for all intents and purposes. And like I said, there's so many Easter eggs and cameos for people who have been Mario fans over the years. And it's also building off of the stories that the first one had too, with the dynamic and the relationships between some of the characters. So this is very much a sequel to it, but it also felt like its own thing as well. So where does that leave me? I'm very much excited for the next one. I know they're going to do one. I think this one is financially successful so far, and I'm not surprised. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. I think it could be really, really cool. There's a couple of end credit scenes that I think are pretty interesting. That kind of set up some new characters for what the next one could entail. So I'm excited. I like this one. It was fun. I was pleasantly surprised. I would check it out. Keep it digging, guys. See you next time.